This is a video homework. We're going over some of the homework that deals with homework 13 as well as parts of 14A for Math 0904E. You're going to find this at the end of homework 13 where someone is said to weigh 7 years old and weigh 42 pounds. Someone else is 9 years old, weighs 53 pounds, and someone is 11 years old, weighs 62 pounds. And then they have these arrows and they want you to make an ordered pair out of it. And what you do is you take the number that's motivating the creation of the other number and you put it first. So 7 for the years makes for 42 for the weight, and 9 years for X creates 53 for the weight. And 11, which would be the years old, this person weighs 62, and you keep on going down there. But what happens is the X goes in and the Y comes out. How old are you helps determine how much you weigh. And that's all it is. And you've seen me doing it when I do my ordered pairs here, when I create something in the T-chart and then I turn it into an ordered pair. They want me to graph negative 3x plus 3. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you that you could use other points besides 0, 1, and 2, although 2 of them are here. There's the 0, there's the 2, the 1 is missing. They asked me also to find this other one where I've got 0 going in for my y, which is a little bit more work, and I might not necessarily want to do that. But if I do that one, here we go, y equals 2 is going in for my x with parentheses. Negative 3, here's my x of 2 plus 3. Therefore, we get negative 6 plus 3. Subtract because they work against each other, we're going to get 3. Strong on the negative like the 6, and we get negative 3 right there. What that does is it creates the point 2, negative 3, same kind of thing as what's going on right up there. Now they want me to put in a 0, but look, that 0 is going in for y. This is a little trickier, more work, so I don't always recommend it, but if you do want to go for the intercepts, you're going to put 0 in for x as well as later 0 in for y, and I'll do it. 0 goes in for my y, and then I still have the rest of it, negative 3x plus 3. Now I have to solve that for x, which requires me to either subtract the 3 and deal with lots of negatives, or add the 3x to both sides, but I got to get the x's on one side and the numbers on the other. I'm thinking negative 3x is worse than 0x, so I'm going to get rid of the negative 3x. 0 plus 3x will get me to 3x, and that 3 doesn't change. Divide by 3. It's like x equals 1. That goes here, creating the point 1 for x and 0 for y. And the third one we're pretty used to, where I have 0 going in for my x with parentheses, so I got y equals negative 3. Here's my 0 for x plus 3, 0 plus 3, always been 3. So that's going to be 3, and I have points that I can put on the line. 0 for x leads to 3. The one that I would do, I would have had 0 first, I would have had the 2 being third, and it turns out that the 1 is also up there, but if I had to do this in green, when they said, you know, why don't we just put in 1 for x, that's fine. Y equals negative 3, here comes 1 plus 3. Negative 3 plus 3, that makes 0 all day long. I'm going to switch out the green marker now, but it would get me this one. 1, 0 as another point, right? Well, not another point, it's one of the 3 points we had. The points that this makes, 2, negative 3, to the right 2 and downward 3, make that spot. We also have 1, 0, which would have been go to the right 1, don't go up or down at all. That's one of the intercepts. It's an x value 1, so that's the x-intercept on the x-axis. 0, 3. Don't go across it all, go up 1, 2, 3, and there you have it. There's our line that we're going to make. Now the only reason that didn't line up well is because I didn't draw wonderful graph paper, but that's what we got for there. I would go 0, 1, 2, they got those 3. They also asked you to put in 0 for y and do some work toward what goes on with intercepts. So I want to take a look at this one now. This one over here says graph y equals negative 2x. Again, they have the 0 that I would use, and they have the 2 that I would use when I go 0, 1, and 2. And again, they're asking me to put in a 0 for y, meaning I got to do some arithmetic, more than arithmetic, I have to do algebra to do that one. It's fine, but I wouldn't necessarily do that as my choice of ways to get this done. But here's what we've got. We're putting in 2 for x. So the first one is that y equals negative 2 times the value of 2. That's negative 4. So we get negative 4 here, and we get 2, negative 4. Now the next one asks me to put in 0 for y. So that's going to be a situation where the 0 goes in for the y, and it still equals negative 2x. That's an equation that needs to be solved. I hope no one's adding 2 to that. We have to divide both sides by negative 2. 0 equals x, so we get 0, we get the origin. 0 for x goes with 0 for y. You may notice this has a 0 for x. What's that going to do on a straight line? Let's find out. Put in 0 for x, y equals 2. It's negative 2 times 0, but it's going to make 0, so that gets me y equals 0. It gets me the same point, so I don't really have 3 points here. I have 2 points. Another point that I would use would be, I would have had a case where I plugged in 1 for x. See what I get. So I have my 1, and I go here with y equals negative 2 times the 1 in parentheses. It's not negative 21. Gets me negative 2. And then for negative 2 here, and 1, negative 2. You may notice on the homework I go a little more quickly. I don't use as much color all the time. But with the homework, you can go back and rewatch it, slow it down, send me a question, anything like that. But it's to get through a lot of the process that happens in some of these problems that we're dealing with. So now, what would happen when I'm graphing this, where I've got to go 0, 1, 2, and I got to reach as far down as negative 4? If I'm drawing my own graph paper, I have to reach down as far as negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's do 4 in each direction. And we got 2, negative 4, 2 to the right and downward all the way to the 4. We then have the origin, double 0. Don't move across, don't move up or down. We wind up staying right there where they cross, the origin. And then another one would have been 1, negative 2. Be 1 to the right and downward 2, getting me those that do line up. This goes through the origin. So I had said earlier there will be situations where you don't touch 3 quadrants. This is one of those situations. This touches quadrant 2 and quadrant 4, but misses quadrant 1 and quadrant 3. And you only touch 2 quadrants if you go through the origin. You touch 2 and you miss 2. If you have a vertical line or a horizontal line that's not an axis, you also touch 2 quadrants. Otherwise, you'll cut through 3. Now I'm going to go over here and set up one more problem to do, and that is one where y equals negative 1/4 x minus 2. And they want me to graph that. Oh, I'll go black marker here. Oh, in my pocket, sneaky. All right. Y equals negative 1/4 x minus 2. Magic. Here we go. What's happening in this problem when it shows up on the homework is they ask you to use x is 0, x is 4, both of which I would use and like, and they say x is negative 4. I want to show you what happens when we do that, what happens if we go 0, 4, 8, which would be 0, jump, double jump, and why maybe 0, 4, negative 4 is a better idea because of limitations on the size of our graph paper. So on this one, we have y equals negative 1/4 times 0 minus 2, which could be for me plus negative 2. That becomes 0. You can do it on your calculator, you can do the work with the canceling and so forth, but it's 0 plus negative 2 gets me negative 2. So there's a point that I can definitely fit on my graph, 0, negative 2, and I'll do that. Now the next one that they asked me to do is let x equal 4, and that's exactly what I would be using if I was using 0, jump, double jump with jumpers being 4. So I'm going to put my 4 here. Again, you can cancel plus negative 2. But this is going to get me negative 1 plus 2. Plus negative 2, sorry, for negative 3. So I'm going to have 4 go in, and out comes negative 3 for my value of y. And that's going to be me going out 4 to the right and down to negative 3. And the next one they call for is for me to use negative 4. And they know what they're doing here, but it's not what I would choose if I had a bigger piece of graph paper. Because when I go for this negative 4, it's going to stay in the space that they give me in Connect Math. Sometimes you'll run out of space. You can't get off the page and keep following that line. So the 8 wouldn't work very well. I'm going to do the 8 and expand my graph, but this is what they would want you to do. That's why the negative 4 is there. They jumped backwards or down from 0 with negative 4. So they have the negative 1/4, and in here goes negative 4, and it's plus the negative 2. Here we do negative 1 fraction 4 times a negative 4. That whole thing becomes 1 plus negative 2. Subtract for 1, strong on the negative, and we get negative 1. So we have negative 4, negative 1. So they want me to go to the left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and downward 1 to create that one. And that's what they would want me to draw my graph from. Now, if I had my opportunity with a big enough piece of graph paper, you know that I would go ahead and use 8. I would have gone 0, 4, 8. And I'd have y equals negative 1/4 times the 8 plus negative 2. That's going to get me a negative 2 plus another negative 2, which they add together for 4, and strong is the negative, no matter which 2 you think is the stronger one. It's going to be negative. That gets me 8, negative 4. Here's the problem with the green one. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to go to negative 4, that's fine, but the graph paper cut off in the homework at the 5. So I couldn't reach the 8, so I couldn't use those 3 points. I'd have to use their points because sometimes I'm constrained to the size of the graph paper that they have. So when they ask you to fill in this blank, you don't have any choice. If you want those points, you have to answer the question that they ask, and you're capable of doing it. But if your job is just to graph the equation of this line with this equation and get the line drawn, you don't have to give them their points. The line is going to be where you wind up with the pathway. So that's what we're going to do to wrap up here, what we call homework 14.2 video.